Friday, February 23rd, 2024. Written by Jimmy. I'm not gonna lie, I experienced some whiplash going through these passages. I started with Genesis and instantly thought, I don't want to read this story again. Give me a break. Then I got to Romans and thought, okay, maybe there is a better way to see this. These days, I have this response more often when I read the Bible. In the past, Scripture was held up as the bastion of all truth, all life, and it was my access point to God. Whether it was that pressure or other contributing beliefs, I did not feel I could engage honestly with Scripture. Sure, I could bring some of my anxieties, my hard days, and look to God as my good Father. But could I bring my anger, my grief, the parts I considered to be dirty? Even though now I'd say none of that is dirty. I didn't feel I could, nor did I see many others free to do that. Sure, the gay card came into play, but there were and are a lot of other challenging passages to get through around non-Israelites or non-males, or anyone who dares to make a mistake in the eyes of God. See Uzzah in 1 Chronicles 13:9. This gave me the feeling of walking around on eggshells, accidental Easter pun, with God and Scripture, and most of the Christian people in my community of family and friends. I thought to myself, what if I cross a line with my questions, or miss something I definitely should have known? So, just in case, I better force myself to read this, to memorize it, understand it, pray it, study it, meditate on it, and whatever else helped me to survive from being struck down. Survive is a strong word, and I now realize, over time, my fight to find safe spaces and people comes from being in harsh relationships with churches, religion, and relationships, even myself. By harsh, I mean ones that did not see me, did not hear me, said hateful things to and about me, or contributed to self-hatred and distrust of myself and others. Abraham made mistakes, and yet was reckoned as righteous, even after these frustrating stories like the one with Hagar, especially the subsequent efforts on Hagar and her future son being punished and banished for something outside their control. Abraham was reckoned to be righteous, Romans emphasizes, before he even had the opportunity to make mistakes or even right his wrongs. It's almost as if the Romans author himself is trying to make sense of how he came to be considered righteous. As I find myself relatively hopeful after finishing with Romans 4, that it's my faith that makes me righteous in God's eyes, rather than the good versus bad that I do. It remains hard to trust Scripture as much as I once did or hoped to do. Yet here I am, grateful that I can come to Scripture with a different perspective, a lighter, simpler, more honest approach. This approach has been life-giving and healing. It allows me to bring my full self with all my doubts, but also my full self that always desired to connect with the divine love, whom it seems still wants to connect with me, regardless of my perfect approach to Scripture. Oddly, this is the freedom and love I always wanted with my faith. I did not expect it to come from this particular path.